Man, this movie was so friggin' boring. It would have been way more interesting if Isaiah T. Showbiz was in this movie, begging for his life for water. Hey guys, Mr. Google, the Countdown God's here to review The Way Back, directed by Peter Weir, and it stars Jim Sturgis, Saoirse Ronan, Mark Strong, Colin Farrell, and Ed Harris. And it's Peter Weir directed one of my personal favorite movies of all time, and that's The Truman Show. Yeah, man, I'm severely disappointed with this movie. Now, the main plot of this movie is that it's based off a true story back in the early 1940s, and it's back in World War II, and these Siberian gulag escapees, and basically throughout the movie it's just a pattern. They need water, one of them dies, they are starved, and then that cycle repeats for 2 hours! 2 hours! And it is so boring. This movie was made for freaking social studies buffs and social studies teachers. Now, let me just start off with the good. The good in this movie, it is sometimes well directed by Peter Weir, and then it's sometimes not well directed by Peter Weir. Sometimes I actually felt like Peter Weir was actually bored with this movie. And he is a great director. I mean, the friggin' Truman Show. I mean, really. Genius movie. But this is just... yeah! I also thought the makeup was really good. I mean, like, their faces are so beaten up by the end of this movie, and they are, and the makeup is good. But if the only good technical things that you have is some of the direction in your makeup, that's not good. The bad things in this movie thinks its cinematography is so amazing that it thinks it outshines everything else, and it outshines all the flaws. They're wrong. The cinematography isn't that good. I'm sorry, it's not that good. I also didn't like the musical score. Terrible pacing problems. I mean, pasting problems. Man, that is getting a little old. The editing was bad. This movie gets me angry. I also thought the dialogue in this movie was, like, head-scratching. Like, what? What the hell? I mean, really, like, one portion of the movie, they're talking about eating each other. Wow. Wow. Another really big problem with this movie is that it is so repetitive. I mean, each scene, it's like I said, it's just a cycle. They're starved. They're dehydrated. One of them dies, and that cycle keeps repeating for 2 hours, and it's so annoying. On to the acting. Jim Sturgis, who has proved he can act before, especially in that movie 21, so underrated. Yeah, he was totally, you couldn't even understand. He was like pulling like a Jeff Bridges from True Grit. You couldn't understand what the hell he was saying, but Jeff Bridges brought a nice likability to his character. Jim Sturgis was just there. Colin Farrell, I can't really say that much about his performance because he was just an asshole in this movie. He was so unlikable. He had a stupid knife, and he's like, "Ooh, you can't doubt the wolf," because yeah. And Saoirse Ronan and Ed Harris are the only two, standouts to me. Especially Ed Harris. He was great, and the second best performance he's ever done behind The Truman Show, in my opinion. I think he was great in The Truman Show. This movie, he was great. There's also a couple of other actors in this movie that I don't know their names, and they had a really big part, but also, Mark Strong was in this movie, and he was actually not a villain for once, which I'm kind of mad about because he was kind of dull in this movie. So overall, The Way Back is just a messy, overconfident, cocky movie that I give a 5.5 out of 10. Could have been way better, should have been way better, would have been way better. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Alright, whatever. 5.5 out of 10 for The Way Back. I'm Mr. Google, and I'm out.